Excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the United Nations Environment Programme Executive Director, Mr. Achim Steiner, I have the honor to welcome all of you to the 2012 Champions of the Earth Award ceremony. The Champions of the Earth is the United Nations flagship environment award to recognize some of the best and brightest individuals, those who demonstrate visionary thinking, unwavering dedication, and action towards a global green economy. This year's chosen laureates are pioneers, who together combine the best in leadership, science, policy, and action. So let us all please give a round of applause as a welcome to the 2012 Champions of the Earth. Champion of the Earth for Science and Innovation, Professor Sander van der Loo from Netherlands. Champion of the Earth for Entrepreneurial Vision, Mr. Fábio Barbosa from Brazil. Champion of the Earth, special category for grassroots initiatives, Mr. Samson Parashina from Kenya. And Champion of the Earth for policy leadership, His Excellency President Sakia Elbekdorj of Mongolia. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome and congratulations to all winners. We learned much more about the winners and their unique and inspiring achievements in the course of the evening. Before we move on with the program, let us once again enjoy a performance by the internationally renowned choro band of Zé da Velha e Silvério Pontes. At this point, I would like to call Mr. Nikhil Seth of the Rio+20 Conference Secretariat to deliver the message from the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon.
We're slightly improvising this evening because we're hoping for Nikhil Seth to be here. Are you here, Nikhil? Right, okay. I'm Nick Nuttall, which sounds quite similar. But I'm from UNEP instead. So this is the message of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, to the Champions of the Earth Award ceremony. I'm pleased to congratulate this year's winners of the UNEP Champions of the Earth Award. As we look forward to the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, the world stands at a crossroads. The decisions we make this decade and how we plan our cities, generate energy, and manage our natural capital will reverberate down the generations. As the human population continues to grow and as resources come under ever more pressure, we will increasingly depend on vision and commitment from political leaders, scientists, entrepreneurs, and ordinary men and women everywhere. UNEP's Champions of the Earth offer the leadership we need to build a sustainable future. I commend them for their efforts and thank UNEP for bringing the world's attention to their achievements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nikhil. It's now with great pleasure that I introduce our host for this evening's event, the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Program, Mr. Achim Steiner.
To you, Excellency, the President of Mongolia, a very warm welcome. I was just speaking to His Excellency, and this is probably the first time ever that the head of state of Mongolia has visited Brazil. We were trying to confirm this, but to you in particular, a very warm welcome here in Rio de Janeiro. To you, Isabella, Minister for the Environment of Brazil, unending force of debate and public policy. It is always a pleasure to be together with you, but nowhere more than here in the city of Rio de Janeiro, just a few days before the famous conference, surrounded by ambassadors who have little time to sleep, by officials who are once again readying this city and this country to host Rio +20, a very special moment in the global conversation about our common future. And through you, Minister, to your whole government and the people of Brazil, and particularly the people of Rio de Janeiro, and also represented by my dear friend Carlos Mink here this evening, thank you for hosting us. It's a privilege to be here amongst our Carioca friends. Muito obrigado. My temptation is to speak to you about many things this evening, but I'm always told by my team that this is not an evening during which I speak, because we celebrate the champions of the earth. Again this year, we have found an extraordinary group of people. And what we celebrate with champions of the earth is not the perfect leader, not the perfect innovator, but rather people who have shown and have chosen to show courage, leadership, the willingness to innovate, to provide new answers, even if sometimes not everybody agrees at the beginning that they are right. Often they have also brought their own dreams to this issue of sustainable development, of environment, of our common future, as we once talked just before Rio 1992, when Gro Harlem Brundtland and her commission issued the report, Our Common Future. For us, Champions of the Earth is also an attempt to speak to every individual on this planet and to say, you may not be a president, you may not be a community leader, you may not be a scientist, but every one of you can make a difference. And Champions of the Earth celebrates a wide range of leadership in our communities, and this evening you will be introduced to a number of stories, of life stories, two of which struck me particularly this afternoon when we had our press conference. We have two sons of pastoralist, nomadic, herding communities. We have His Excellency the President of Mongolia, who was born to a herder's family and has risen to the highest position of leadership in his nation. We have Samson, a son of a Maasai leader, sitting right here, a Maasai warrior who is a leader in his community, a young man, but already is showing that his commitment as a young leader in his society is equally trying to struggle with the question of how will the Maasai community in the future fit into our societies. We have a leader in the scientific community who for many years has been leading scientific research work, beginning with archaeology, moving into the science of complexity and science studies, right into the realm, as I said this afternoon, of science and philosophy about how our societies will respond to the challenges of our time. It is a great privilege to have Bas van der Leuve here this evening, together with his wife, who have joined us, who we are awarding the Champions of the Earth for scientific leadership. We also have two champions who will not be joining us because they are otherwise occupied. One of them is an extraordinary man of energy and innovation and leadership from the United Arab Emirates, Dr. Sultan Al Jaber. He cannot be with us here this evening, but he is in many ways the driving force behind one of the oil-producing countries of this world, the United Arab Emirates, leading a revolution in terms of 21st century renewable energy, energy efficiency, a new university and a whole new city that is being built in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi on the latest principles of sustainable construction and urban living. He could not be with us tonight, but he is a pioneer also in the movement of helping the world develop its renewable energy resources and was a leader in bringing the new International Renewable Energy Agency to Abu Dhabi. And we have another pioneer who definitely wanted to be with us, but is probably either tomorrow or after tomorrow set another record in the history of aviation. Dr. Bertrand Piccard, who became the first man to surround the planet in a balloon in a non-stop flight, is on the verge of flying a plane powered only by photovoltaic cells, by solar energy, the first ever plane built to do this in an intercontinental journey from Europe to Africa. The weather was not with us last week, so he could not complete that flight, and it is probably going to happen tomorrow or after tomorrow, and thus Bertrand could not be with us. But not only is he an aviator, he is a campaigner for environmental issues, for social responsibility. He's a pioneer who, with his spirit of adventure, has inspired so many others to become engaged. And last, but by no means least, but because we are in Brazil, I chose to leave our champion, Dr. Fábio Barbosa, as the last one that I wanted to introduce you tonight. Partly you know him better than I do, because he is such a well-known figure in Brazil and well beyond the boundaries of Brazil. We invited Dr. Fábio Barbosa to accept the Champions of the Earth Award this year because we in UNEP believe something that he in fact put in better words than I ever could today. And I will repeat his phrase, that the business of business is sustainable business. And unless you begin to take responsibility as an individual, as a CEO, change will not come. He is both a symbol and an inspiration to many in Brazil, but also well beyond the boundaries of Brazil. And we in UNEP feel honored that we can tonight recognize the leadership, the inspiration, the innovation, but also the courage that he has brought to this challenge. To all of you, the champions who are here tonight, we honor you with this ceremony. We speak to you on behalf of the United Nations in saying to you, thank you for what you have done. Thank you for what you do today. Thank you also for what you will do in the years to come. And above all, you are the best reasons that we have optimism to believe in the future. To all of you, our guests who are here tonight, and I've met many of you at the entrance, thank you for finding time for this evening. The next few weeks will not be easy. We once again are bringing the community of nations together in Rio for a conference on sustainable development. A world that is preoccupied with economic crisis, with unemployment, with social upheaval, with social and political turmoil, and also, as we have seen in the last few weeks, is not a very united nations at the moment. Our hope is that Rio +20 will once again awaken that spirit that goes beyond nations competing with one another in an economic arena to find the principles of solidarity and cooperation as drivers for the 21st century. I cannot think of a better way than a Champions of the Earth ceremony like this in Rio, a few days before Rio +20, to show to all those who are skeptical, who are pessimists, that there is also reason to challenge that skepticism. With these remarks, and on behalf of the United Nations family as a whole that is also represented in this hall here this evening, muito obrigado, have a wonderful evening, and let's hope for a great conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. As many of us would know, Brazil this year is the global host of World Environment Day, the United Nations flagship day for positive action on the environment, in which we will have its grand celebration tomorrow, 5th of June. This evening's award ceremony is part of the week-long celebration of World Environment Day in Brazil, And now I have the honor to invite on the stage our environment champion, Brazil's Minister of Environment, Ms. Isabela Teixeira.
Well, hello, my friends. But I'd like, first of all, on behalf of the President Dilma, to welcome everybody here and say it's our pleasure to host this momentum, but also to host Rio Plus 20 conference. And I know that this is a challenge not only for Brazilians, but for the planet to deal with a new agenda, a new environmental constituency after Rio Plus 20 conference. And I think when you check the sentence, green economy, does it include you? This really makes the difference. So I'd like to say, first of all, welcome to Rio de Janeiro, welcome to Brazil, welcome to Sustainable Development Agenda, and be sure we can do more and we will do more.
Thank you, Minister Teixeira. Before we proceed, I wish to acknowledge the presence of the world's supermodel, a beloved Brazilian, and the United Nations Goodwill Ambassador for the Environment, Ms. Gisele Bündchen. This evening's award ceremony on Tchau agenda, the UNEP incentive of $40,000 given for each champions category is made possible by the support of LG Electronics. The LG Group has investments of about $18 billion through 2020 energy-efficient products and renewable energy businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, I now call Mr. Chris Lee, President for South and Central American region of LG Electronics, for his brief remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly an honor to attend the 2012 Champions of the Earth Award ceremony as an LG representative. On behalf of our 200,000 members, I would like to deliver a special congratulatory message to the distinguished award champions gathered here today. Additionally, I would like to convey our sincere congratulations to the UNEP for the growing prestige of its Champions of the Earth Award, which has become the most coveted recognition of significant environmental achievement by global leaders and individuals since its starting in 2004. 2 years ago, LG Group announced its Green 2020 Environmental Management Initiative based upon UNEP's Green Economy Initiative. Through this concerted effort, LG will contribute to the resolution of global environmental issues by creating eco-friendly business sites, expanding new green product and strengthening new eco-friendly business. In addition to producing significant environmental achievements within the value chains of LG affiliates, we are optimistic that our Green 2020 effort will promote increased environmental awareness amongst our customers who use LG products and services while enhancing their lifestyle. Fortunately, there has been a significant increase in environmental awareness in recent years. During my travels meeting our customers all over Brazil, I am pleased to find that in the business world there is a strong demand for companies to tackle environmental challenges aggressively through products and services. And I am sure that this continuous discussion will help light on these questions. Because of those challenges, LG as a whole group firmly believe that today's event will play a central role in international efforts to resolve global environmental issues. My hope is that the Champions of the Earth award will enhance global awareness of the environment, and I expect it will play a critical role in ensuring our descendants enjoy a clean and vibrant planet for many years to come. In conclusion, I would like to congratulate the distinguished champions once again. Life is good when life is green. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. We shall now take a break to have the first part of our dinner and also to enjoy a special cultural performance all the way from Mongolia, courtesy of His Excellency President Elbek Dorj. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the artists from Mongolia's Dombak Group. UNEP celebrates 40 years as the voice of the environment, championing an inclusive green economy that's environmentally responsible. Congratulations and more power to UNEP. We have come to the moment when we give much deserved recognition to the leaders who help building for all of us a sustainable future. At this point, I'd like to call on the stage our very only UNEP's very passionate and dedicated Goodwill Ambassador, Ms. Gisele Bündchen, to present our first award for the evening.
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I have the honor to be here among these inspiring individuals whose unwavering dedication to the cause of environment and development we celebrate tonight. This is the time when we bring to the world's attention the vision, hard work, and achievements of these exemplary leaders. Our first category is called Science and Innovation. And this year's winner is a scientist and professor whose life study focused on how invention and innovation have helped shape the evolution of human society. May I now call on Mr. Steiner, please, to join me on stage for the award presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the champion of the earth for science and innovation, Professor Sander van der Loo.
Your Excellency, the President of Mongolia, honorable laureates, many distinguished guests, of whom I don't know anybody, but who I welcome here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am of course very honored. I'm humbled, but I'm also a little bit proud, I'm human after all, to be among the very distinguished recipients of this prize. So first of all, my thanks go to the United Nations Environment Programme and its Executive Director, Achim Steiner, who I had never met and I had the great pleasure meeting in the last few days. But also to the many anonymous people, and one of them revealed himself to me tonight, who appreciated the work that we did and honored it by inviting me to this event. Thank you also to the sponsors, LG Electronics. But thanks above all to the Archimedes and ISCOM teams, the people with whom I worked over the last 20 years. They did most of the work that is here being honored, and in the process re-educated me and gave me a sort of private third university education in a very wide range of disciplines. I accept this reward with great pleasure on behalf of all those wonderful people from 11 countries who were part of the teams and who gave me their friendship and stretched my mind. Thanks to Anik, my colleague and friend and wife, who supported, enabled and inspired me to follow the track that ultimately led to this event. And then finally, thanks to my colleagues and administrators in the many institutions where I worked and taught and did research, for providing such a conducive environment. And in particular, I want to mention 4 of them who played a very special role in how all of this came about. Panagiotis Balabanis, Denis Peter, and Ralph Dunn, all of the European Commission, who sustained our work for 15 years, at sometimes, I suspect, at a risk to their own careers. Because some of our projects were literally put in a special category in Brussels that was called high-risk research. which basically meant research that was quite likely to fail. And nevertheless, they supported us through all those years. And I want to say the same thing to my current director, Michael Crow of Arizona State University, who is trying to create a sustainability institution that goes way beyond a traditional university and which gives me a fantastic working environment to be in. Now, what is this research all about? Well, to put it briefly, the fact that when we talk about innovation as the means to get to a sustainable future, we often forget that it's unbridled innovation for 2 centuries that has got us into this predicament. We cannot simply continue with the same kind of innovation. Part of the challenge is that we have rarely looked scientifically at the process of inventing and implementing innovations. Most scientific work has viewed it as a black box, creativity, and has looked at the conditions under which it happened and at the results that it might achieve, but it has not really looked at the process itself. So we are looking at those processes. Another part of this challenge is to look at the potential unintended consequences of our inventions. And we live those unintended consequences right now, and we are being overwhelmed by them. And that actually explains some of the feeling of crisis that we currently have. In order to transition to sustainability, we must not only learn from the past, as I have done, but we must learn for the future. That is, when innovating, we must take into account as many of the potential consequences as we can, expected ones and unexpected ones, before attempting to implement our innovations. That is the essence of the precautionary principle as applied to innovation. That in turn demands a green economy, yes, but it demands much more than a green economy. It also requires a different culture, a different mindset, a different science, and a different kind of education. One that thinks in alternatives, risks and uncertainties, and enacts long-term strategy, vision, rather than playing, as they say in Holland, panic football, and that you know that here in Brazil very well. Running around trying to remedy short-term challenges, as most of us do. No institution, no authority, no government can bring this about. It can only come through collective action by everyone together. And hence, I dedicate this prize to the next generation of individuals, the young ones among us, the next generation of nations, the young ones that are in plain development, like yourselves here. Because I feel that it may be very difficult for the older generation of individuals and the older generation of countries to actually profoundly transform our world. So what I would like to do is dedicate this particular prize to that generation, a generation that needs to design a more appropriate society, a sustainable world, a generation that we all will need to trust. I wish it well.
The category of entrepreneurial vision recognizes industry captains who use their excellent business sense to drive the movement towards a resource-efficient future. And for this year, we have co-winners, business leaders from different industries and different parts of the world. Our first co-winner debunked the false dichotomy between profits and environmental responsibility and is an unrelenting advocate of a sustainable business. welcome to the Champion of the Earth, co-winner for Entrepreneurial Vision, our Mr. Fábio Barbosa.
E eu queria agradecer as pessoas que me apoiaram durante toda essa jornada. E com o risco de nominar pessoas e esquecer de outras, eu queria nominar 3 pessoas, a Malu Pinto, o Ricardo Guimarães e o Fernando Martins, esses 2 últimos que estão aqui, que foram pessoas que desde o começo deram apoio nessa grande jornada, que trouxe essa inovação, essa nova visão da maneira de fazer negócios. Há 12 anos atrás, quando nós começamos, então no Banco Real, a falar sobre a inclusão de aspectos ligados ao meio ambiente, na análise de concessão de crédito, as pessoas reagiam com ceticismo, dizendo isso não é assim, a gente não tem que se importar com isso, o que você está fazendo, cuidado, isso não vai dar certo. E durante todo esse período, eu sempre tive a convicção, e aqueles que me apoiaram também, de que nós temos responsabilidade na gestão empresarial e temos que incorporar isso no dia a dia da empresa. Se a gente acredita, ele pode ser feito e a gente não deve ceder às pressões do dia a dia. Muitas pessoas, embora não na minha frente, sempre comentavam aqui e ali, assim não vai dar certo, não é assim que se faz negócios. Lembrando um pouco que eu falei no vídeo e que Steiner destacou aqui na abertura, sempre com aquela frase do Milton Friedman que diz "The business of business is business", ou seja, o negócio dos negócios são negócios. E eu me batia contra isso. Porque não é possível que a gente ache que não exista convergência entre fazer negócios e ter resultados. Não é verdade que a gente precisa escolher ou um ou outro. Tem que ser possível a gente buscar um caminho onde você consiga ter os resultados e faça as coisas de uma forma a acrescentar valor para a sociedade. E eu fiz disso a minha causa. Eu costumo dizer que o que me tira da cama de manhã é a ideia de que nós podemos sim ter resultados sem transigir. Acho que isso é importante no mundo, é importante no Brasil, onde muitas vezes a questão de valores não é levada tão a fundo, tão a ferro e fogo como eu gosto de levar, dizendo que sim, a gente tem que ter exemplos de que você pode dar certo fazendo as coisas certas do jeito certo. Eu acho que isso está não apenas na estratégia da empresa, mas tem que estar no dia a dia das pessoas. Nesse ponto, quem me guiou muito foi um pensador americano chamado Ralph Emerson, que diz, e eu vou falar em inglês, depois em português, so it's an American philosopher who says, "What you do speaks so loud that I cannot hear what you say." Em outras palavras, em português dizia, o que você fala, o que você faz, fala tão alto que eu não consigo ouvir o que você diz. O que eu cobro, então, acho que é a atitude de cada um no dia a dia que faz a diferença. E, portanto, quando eu vejo a Rio+20 e as discussões sobre um tema e uma premiação como essa, eu fico muito otimista. Eu acho que, na verdade, o assunto é complexo, o assunto de meio ambiente é complexo, a ministra que pode dizer, mas a realidade está aí e temos que lidar com ela. Eu acho que a ciência pode dar grandes contribuições, como vimos há pouco com quem me antecedeu aqui nesse palco, mas também educação é o caminho. Educação vai fazer diferença. Educação e a conscientização de todos com relação à questão do meio ambiente. A conscientização do consumidor, a conscientização da comunidade de negócios, a conscientização dos cidadãos, a conscientização das autoridades governamentais, mundo afora, é o que vai fazer diferença. E eu fico muito otimista, porque eu vejo jovens muito mais conscientes. Como eu disse nessa gravação há pouco, eu vejo jovens que olham a questão do meio ambiente de uma forma que a minha geração não olhou e, portanto, eu acho que seremos cobrados, nós e todas aquelas empresas e todas as autoridades governamentais, com relação ao que está sendo feito com relação ao meio ambiente. E, para terminar, eu queria dizer que a responsabilidade, na verdade, é de cada um de nós, né? Ela é de todos e ela é de cada um. E que nós não temos uma obrigação nem um dever. Na verdade, nós temos o privilégio de poder, através das nossas ações e das nossas omissões, construir o mundo que nós queremos. Está nas nossas mãos, a bola está conosco, a hora é essa, vamos fazer cada um a nossa parte e a gente pode, com certeza, levar esse projeto adiante sem preconceitos de que ou você faz negócios, ou você olha o meio ambiente, ou você tem produção agrícola, ou olha o meio ambiente, mas mostrando que nós temos que compatibilizar e temos capacidade de fazer isso e acho que a mobilização de todos é que vai fazer a diferença. Muito obrigado pela premiação.
Thank you, Mr. Barbosa. Our co-winner for entrepreneurial vision strives for a cleaner, more accessible and more sustainable global energy landscape. Dr. Al-Jaber is unfortunately unable to join us this evening, but he sent us this message from his country, the United Arab Emirates.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Please allow me to extend my sincere apologies for not being able to be with you at this prestigious Champions of the Earth Awards ceremony. I am truly grateful to receive this award and feel honored to be amongst the distinguished recipients. I would like to congratulate my fellow prize winners for their achievements and accomplishments. And I would like to thank the United Nations Environment Programme for recognizing what we at Masdar, through the support of Abu Dhabi's leadership, are aspiring to achieve. Back in 2005, this award was received by the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the founding father of the United Arab Emirates and a true champion of the earth. He encouraged us to conserve our environment and to preserve it for future generations. He instilled in us the environmental stewardship, which is today the foundation of our economic and social development plans. As an energy leader, the United Arab Emirates has taken on the responsibility to advance the energy sector's development for it to be more sustainable, affordable, and secure. Through Masdar, Abu Dhabi has been resolute in its commitment to advance clean energy technologies and mitigate the threats of climate change by investing in new technologies, deploying solar and wind projects, and building a city that adheres to the most rigorous sustainability standards. Today, many of the world's largest and fastest growing economies, including our own, face the greatest climate risks. In the face of these challenges, the world does not have the luxury of choosing between environmental sustainability on the one hand or securing economic growth on the other. We have to be champions for both, because while climate change is a threat to growth, developing clean technologies is an opportunity for growth. Although everyone this evening is aware of the risks, challenges, and opportunities, it is only by encouraging action and innovation that we will be able to initiate change we so urgently require. We must all be champions of the earth. Let us begin by encouraging action, innovation, and change at Rio+20 this month. Thank you.
On to our next category, Inspiration in Action, and tonight we recognize an exemplary individual, a born explorer and pioneer who serves as a shining example of how individual action can have wide-reaching influence for thousands and potentially millions of people. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the earth for inspiration and action is Dr. Bertrand Piccard. Dr. Piccard is in Madrid preparing for his next Solar Impulse flight to Morocco and has sent us this acceptance video.
Good evening to everybody. There was only one thing that could prevent me from being with you in Rio for the Champion of the Earth Award. It was a flight with Solar Impulse. And actually, it's exactly what is happening. In a few minutes, if everything goes well with our technology, with the weather conditions, I should take off with our solar power airplane from Madrid in Spain to make our first intercontinental flight crossing the Strait of Gibraltar to land in Morocco. Morocco has the most ambitious solar energy program, building the biggest solar power plant in the world, and this is what Solar Impulse stands for, promoting this pioneering spirit. So we're invited in Morocco to show how exciting all these projects can be. They should all be put on the top priority list. No way to leave it behind because of financial crisis, because of economical crisis. No, we have to put it on the top priority because this is the way to create jobs, this is the way to make a sustainable growth, and at the same time, of course, protect the environment. So it's also useless now to speak about sustainable development as something boring. It's not boring anymore. Thanks to new technologies, we can make it exciting. So we're all pulling at the same rope, but we have now to convince the politicians also to put the legal frames, to bring on the market the energy-saving technologies, the clean technologies, all the technologies like we have here on this solar-powered airplane, on Solar Impulse. So let's try to motivate also governments and politicians. All the rest of the world is already convinced. So that's our task now. And while I will be flying on Solar Impulse, also giving live interviews during the flight, this will be also my message. So it's not just by chance that we have this event in Rio and the flight of Solar Impulse. It's together because we have to motivate and bring enthusiasm to the population. So have a good evening. I hope I'll have a good flight, and all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Picard. Once again, I'd like to call on the stage Ms. Gisele Bündchen to present the next winner.
I wanted to take advantage of us being together on the stage rather than earlier on to pay you a tribute also, because in the midst of our Champions of the Earth, Gisele has been our UNEP Goodwill Ambassador for more than 2 years now. Whenever we call her, whenever we ask her to be part of serious messages, of the fun messages of the WED Challenge, she's always been there for us, as she has been there for so many people. Walking with her this morning through the park in Rio de Janeiro was for me one of the very nice experiences that I've had in Brazil, because I saw the immense energy that she unleashes on people. And simply as Executive Director of UNEP, and also on behalf of our UN family, Gisele, thank you for what you do for us, thank you for what you do for the environment, thank you for what you do for Brazil. Muito obrigado.
Muito obrigada. From an eco-aviator to a tribal warrior, ladies and gentlemen, our next champion for the special category of grassroots leadership comes all the way from the African savannas. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause, another round of applause for Mr. Samson Parashina, champion of the earth for the special category of grassroots leadership.
Your Excellency, President of Mongolia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I have traveled a long way to come and receive this distinguished award. The city of Rio is separated by a long distance over the land and the sea from the Kuku Group Ranch in Kenya, where I live and work. Yet I'm happy to be among the people sharing this conviction that the economic development and integrity of the environment are two sides of the same coin. This goal need not to be in conflict, but rather they should be complementary. For me, this means the connection of tourism, environmental research, health program, and improved education of our children. A green economy is not only possible, it is desirable, and it can be profitable and sustainable way for humanity and environment to flourish together. I thank the UNEP for recognizing me as a champion of the earth. I'm delighted and honored. In the same breath, allow me to dedicate this award to the board members and community members and co-workers of Maasai Wilderness Conservation Trust. Without their joint participation, I will not be here. My efforts are not alone. I work with the people of my community, and I work with many others throughout the world. Conserving the environment and caring one another are combined efforts that require all of us. To all of you present, it's gratifying to know that we are all connected by the shared concern for the environment in the global atmosphere. This award will energize me and embolden me in the pursuit of the ideal that we stand for, of preserving wilderness, wildlife, and cultural heritage. When I return home, I'll inform my community that the attention of the world. that we are not alone in what we do, but we are supported with many throughout the world. I will remind them that no effort go into waste in the pursuit of a safe environment. I promise that I will encourage them to continue to fight poverty and protect the environment at the same time. I end up by inviting you all to Kenya, and Kuku Group Ranch in particular, to come and witness the initiatives that we are making and sample the serenity and the beauty of my village. Thank you for this great honor. May God bless you all.
Congratulations, Mr. Parashina, and thank you once again to Ms. Gisele Bündchen. I'd like to invite Mr. Achim to present our next winner.
Excellencies, guests, we now come to our final, by no means least, but certainly honored and worthy winner of our award presentations here in Rio de Janeiro in the year 2012. From battling desertification in Mongolia through reforestation to charting a solar-powered economic path for his country that may light up and provide power, to the great powers even to the left and to the right, so to speak, of Mongolia in the years to come, and suspending mining licenses in favor of environmentally responsible economic growth, because, as in his own words, he said, almost half of our country has some mining licenses. Perhaps that's enough for the moment. Our next winner is truly a role model for political leaders worldwide. I have the honor to invite on the stage His Excellency President Sakir El-Berdoj, Champion of the Earth for 2012 for Policy Leadership.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Minister Isabel. Good evening, Mr. Steiner, and distinguished guests, and my fellow recipients of the award. You know, I was born in a herdsman's family, and thanks to the freedom, thanks to the free choice of our nation, I became the president. Today I became the champion of the earth, and standing in front of you in this beautiful Copacabana Palace, in this beautiful city, Rio de Janeiro. What else need to human being? Thank you very much. You know, in Mongolia now, midday. And after leaving this audience, I will call to my mama, my mother, who is 93 years old. And actually, we have 8 children. I am the youngest in the family. My mother gave birth to the 8 boys. And actually, my mother taught me the lessons, how to work harmony with the environment, how to love nature, how to not pollute the rivers, how to not damage the earth. Because of that, this belief in environment and belief in protecting our environment is in my blood. Of course, as I said, one day I will give up my presidency, but I have a lifetime commitment to contribute to the well-being of our nature, to the well-being of the people, and to contribute to support green policy, because green policy is good for the people and for the environment. Now I'll give you a little bit information about my country, because I am the first head of state of Mongolia to come first time to Brazil. I love Brazil. I spent 2 days. This is great country. I heard about your country a lot. You know, my country has roughly 3 million people, 50 million cattle. I think only country we have more than horses than people. And my country has a great history. One time Mongolia built biggest land empire ever existed on the earth. One time, Mongolians actually exerted to build some nations' biggest wall on the earth. Today, we are initiating to build green wall on the earth. That's the one initiative. And Mongolia was a communist country after Russia for 70 years. And I was one of the leaders to lead democratic movement in my country since 1990. Today, my country, most free economic and social and political establishment, and we have that free society in our region since 1990. And you know, actually, we fell behind many initiatives worldwide. I think we have to be in front of one initiative. That's the environment-related initiatives. You know, we have an ambitious goal. We have a 1.5 million square kilometer land. And actually in Mongolia, 1 square kilometer land is 2 guys there. Mongolia is one of the sparsely populated country on the earth. And now we have ambitious goal to make 30% of our land protected areas. And now we reached it to up to the 17%. Just last May, my parliament actually approved 10 laws. That was historic. We fought for that for 5-10 years, and package of the 10 laws related with the environment. That was, I think, great step for the improving our legal system in my country. There are many things you can learn. If you go www.president.mn, only 2 syllables, MN, you will see information about my country, about our activities. At the end, you know, Mongolians say, while your parents alive, make many friends. While your horse alive, see many lands. But to reach by horse to Mongolia, it's very far. I think today have new way of communication and airplanes, and I really would like to see you in my country. I think if you would like to go to country where is opportunities open, if you would like to go to the countries, if you do something good, you will see the results. And my friends, now you have a presidential invitation to go to Mongolia. And thank you very much for this award. Thank you very much for this evening.
May you please invite all the champions, Minister Teixeira, Ms. Gisele Bündchen, and Mr. Lee of LG Electronics to come on the stage and join President Elbeck George and Mr. Steiner for a group photo. UNEP would like to extend special thanks to LG Electronics for 3 years of partnership on the Champions of the Earth. We conclude the award presentation. As you enjoy your dessert and coffee, we now get the party started with a rousing performance by the Salgueiro Samba School. Thank you very much and have a good evening.